Heather from Booktubes, and today is my holiday romances wrap up. So this is all of the Christmas romance novellas mostly, but some full-length novels that I've read in December. I'm not going back to ones I did in November or that I've done before. And I am filming this on the 20th, and I think I'm done. I think I've read my full quota of holiday romances, but I wanted to give you this wrap up now when I think it's going up on Christmas Eve, when you might still want to pick one up versus January, where I don't want to talk about 20 Christmas romances in January. So I'm doing this. It's my channel. That's how I'm doing it. I read 10 holiday romances. I did DNF 1, so technically 11, but I read 10. We're gonna talk about it. As always, if they're available on Kindle Unlimited, it's marked in my description. Please like the video if you want more people to watch it, and comment and tell me if you read any of these, have any recommendations, or have a favorite that you maybe reread every year. Also, at the end, I am going to mention the 3 New Year's Eve / day novellas that I plan on reading. The very first one is One Hot December, which is Men at Work number 3 by Tiffany Rilzy. I gave this 5 stars. I loved this whole series that is a 3-book series that was on for Harlequin, I believe, and the first one's Halloween, the second one is Thanksgiving, and the third one is Hannukah and Christmas. So in this one, a lady welder falls for her boss. It's Flash, which I guess is a character from a 80s movie that I'm not familiar with, and Ian was super sweet and fun and sexy. Tiffany Rilzy is really funny. I really enjoy her sense of humor. And this one's not overly holiday themed, but it does reference both holidays, and I really enjoyed it. I will say, out of the 3, the Thanksgiving one is my favorite just because of the storyline and the characters and their dynamic, but all 3 were great. Then I read Merry Christmas Baby by Alexandria. I gave this 5 stars. It is short, like 20 or 30 pages. I did! I was a little stressed out by this because basically this is kind of a second chance-ish romance where he's been neglecting her and she's over it, and he's like, no, don't be over me. She's stuck working at the hospital call center for Christmas Eve, and he comes and they do it while she's doing hospital calls, like directing calls to the emergency room and to this doctor and to CAT scans, and I'm just like, the stress, like, what if you screwed something up? No. That being said, it's super short, and she does not continue working there, so there's that. But me, I'm a rule follower, and I was just like, but what if you screwed something up? So I did have trouble getting over that, but it's fine. Everything is fine. Then I read The 12 Dates of Christmas, which is Love on the Rock, number 1 by Rilzy. This was a big disappointment to me. I gave it 3 stars. Rilzy wrote Go Deep, which is my favorite Friends to Lovers novella ever. It was epic. It skipped all the unnecessary stupid angst of Friends to Lovers. This one did the exact opposite, and the whole thing was about the stupid angst. Basically, they were best friends their whole life. They started sleeping together when around age 18, and she pushed him away so that she wouldn't lose his friendship, but she didn't talk to him for 6 years, and she didn't communicate, and she was still pushing him away all the way through the novella because she didn't want to lose his friendship, even though she hadn't talked to him for 6 years. I couldn't. It was dumb. I didn't agree with any of her reasons. I didn't like it. I was like, why are you doing this to me? So this is not a Christmas version of Go Deep, unfortunately. I was very disappointed by that. I will read more of her books, but I was really hoping for my preference of Friends to Lovers, and this wasn't it. Then I read Ugly Sweater Weather by Gadziala. I gave this one 5 stars. This is another Friends to Lovers do 12 Dates of Christmas, but this one had a lot less unnecessary angst in it, and I really enjoyed it. These are 2 dog parents, and their dogs like love each other, and that is what brings them together. And now they've been friends for a few years, and he really loves her and wants to be with her and understands that she has commitment issues and is willing to wait, and is kind of using these 12 dates as the means to make her see that he's the man for her. And there is a little bit of angst, but it didn't annoy me as much. If you want a really cute, Christmassy, doggy novella, this one was really sweet. And it takes place in New York City. Then I read My Fake Christmas Fiancé, which is Kane Christmas #1 by Kriss. I gave this one 4 stars. I really liked it. The book is hilarious. It's super funny. And it starts out with the whole first chapter or so being just their emails back and forth to each other. So they get kind of blindsided with this marriage clause in the contract for their business merger done by their fathers, and through a hilarious series of events, they can't get out of it. And so they're going to have to get married by Christmas Eve. The only thing I didn't love about this book was that it took them the whole dang time to admit their feelings. That was it. That was my only issue. Everything else I absolutely loved. Then I read Once Upon a Winter's Eve, which is Spindle Cove 1.5. You don't necessarily have to have read the first book, although you see characters from it. By Tessa. I give this one 3 stars. I know, I was so disappointed. I didn't buy into their relationship. She forgave him so easily. I thought it was super unrealistic of I understand what Spindle Cove is, but I thought it was super unrealistic of the expectations of society. Like, I just didn't think she'd be able to get away with what was happening. I didn't like it. I didn't buy into it. I didn't believe it. I wasn't interested. Yeah, disappointing. But anyways, if you wanted to read it, basically, this stranger shows up shipwrecked, and he speaks a language that nobody else can understand except she knows it, and so she's the one that is there to make sure he's not a spy. Then I read How the Hitman Stole Christmas by Sam Mariano. This was 5 stars. This is a dark romance Christmas book. I really enjoyed it. The dark content is dubious consent. He does kidnap her, and there's dubious consent. That is accurate. He stops alongside the road because her car is broken down, and when he sees her, he decides he's gonna get a new girlfriend for Christmas, take her home to the family, and it doesn't matter what she has to say about it. And it was fun. I really liked it. It said the only really dark content is that he's a hitman and that he kidnaps her, which is pretty obvious from the synopsis, and then dubious consent on the 60 times. Then I read Redemption by Kenya Wright. I gave this one 5 stars. This was another dark Christmas romance. He left the mafia after his entire family was killed, and she is running from her monster of an ex who's super abusive, and in the beginning of the book we get an abusive scene with him while they're trying to escape him. There is abuse on page, not a ton of it. It wasn't super drawn out, but it is there right at the beginning. So she and her 3 kids kind of crash land on his property during a snowstorm, and he falls hard for her. This is a little bit of a slow burn, though not too much. And there are some smutty illustrations. They were beautiful, but some of them get super graphic. So if you don't want little eyes or coworker eyes or whatever to see, maybe don't read this around other people. But I loved it. It was just really good. There is some violence, and I would say that this is darker than I like on a consistent basis, but it's not so dark that it bothers me to read it, if that makes sense. So I can handle this level occasionally. I don't want it every single week, but it's also not like, okay, this author is too much for me. She was still within my comfort zone, just towards the tippy top. Then I read Love Me for Christmas by B. Love. I gave this book 4 stars. This one, not super Christmassy, not super smutty. So she is a matchmaker and she can't find her perfect person, and so her best friend sets her up with another matchmaker to find the guy. She finds somebody, and it was actually really sweet. And he had a deceased wife who was deaf, and so because of that, he wasn't great at expressing his feelings with words, but he showed his love in other ways. And I really liked that and how that was explained and talked about, and I thought they were a really cute couple. Then I reread Unwrapped by Gadziala. I gave this one 5 stars. Again, this is a lumberjack alpha, finds a woman alongside the road. She had never had a good Christmas, and so she has bought all these Christmas things, used up her days, and is going to a cabin and is going to have a Christmas, and then can't make it to the cabin because of the snow and get stuck with him. And they fall in love really quickly. Again, the only thing I don't love about this is that there is a period of time. It's like they could have been happy if they would have just talked to each other. But it's not super long on page, and it is still delightful. It's very Christmassy. They do a lot of Christmas activities, and who doesn't want to fall in love with a lumberjack alpha? Then Izzy from Happy for Now talked me into a couple. I was like, I'm done on Christmas. I don't need it anymore. She talked me into it. Krampus is supposed to be the opposite of Santa Claus. So he's like a demon that's like a... what are they called? The like half goat men? Satire? I don't remember. My brain threw it out and I don't know where to pick it up, but nonetheless, so he would come and punish you if you're naughty. So the first one that I read was Paddled by Krampus by Harley LaRue. I gave this 4 stars. We were talking super short, people, like 30 pages. This one, she is like an apprentice wizard and she's a bad person. Not a bad person, but she does a lot of bad things, and she partially does it because she kind of has a crush on her instructor and she kind of wants him to spank her, and he's too easygoing and is always giving her another chance. So then Krampus comes and there is spanking, there's flogging, and there's caning. So if you're not into that at all whatsoever, that's there. And then he gets it to her. And then gets her master and is like, you need to spank her, you need to keep her in line, and she and her master are going to have a romance after the Krampus. I don't know. Then I read, again because of Izzy, Taken by Beast, Creamed by Krampus, which is by C.C. Cummings, and I give this one 3 stars. This is also super short, like under 30 pages. This one, nobody's ever brought her to orgasm, and so she goes with her new boyfriend to like the snow cabin, and they have sex for the first time, and she doesn't come. And then the power goes out and stuff, and the boyfriend goes to go check on it, and Krampus comes and is like, we don't punish the naughty, we give maidens their naughty desires. That was a rumor created by the priests to keep you from calling on us. So then they make her come, and then I don't know if now she's gonna be able to come with guys or not. And then they leave, and she's with her boyfriend. I was confused, honestly. I was like, so do we just get it this one time? Are we now fixed? What is happening? I don't know. I don't understand. So I don't know. Maybe read it, like I said, super short, and tell me what you think. Alright, and then I have 3 New Year's Eve novellas that I want to read this next week. First one is NYE by Gadziala. This is a party planner having to deal with a super rich guy in New York who wants to throw a last minute huge New Year's Eve party for his company, and he's micromanaging and he's constantly changing plans, and he's like there for every single thing and driving her crazy and his enemies lovers, and it's super cute. It would be a reread for me. Then I want to read New Year, New Boo by Alexandria House. This is super short and it's her finding love coming New Year's Eve party. I expect it to be under 50 pages. I couldn't quite find out, but that's how long her holiday ones were. And then lastly, I want to read A Tale of Two Cities, a New Year novella by Alexandria Warren. I read her Halloween one, and I never got to her Thanksgiving or her Christmas one, but I want to read the New Year's Eve one. These are basically two people from two different cities will meet up and find love. She has her heart set on one guy, and the universe has somebody else in mind. That's the entire synopsis. I've read a couple of her novellas and enjoyed her writing, so I want to read her New Year's Eve one. That's it. Did you have a favorite Christmas one? Do you have a New Year's Eve one that you want to read? Let me know in the comments, please, and thank you. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.